Shoulder mobility for BJJ. Hey guys, Joey here from Bulletproof for BJJ. Today I'm going to show you 5 simple exercises that you can use to increase shoulder mobility so that you can perform better on the mats. For a lot of grapplers, it's very common to have tight shoulders. Now this can just occur as part of our lifestyle, that the shoulders will get a little bit tight, but it is also a bit of a symptom of grappling whereby we start to round a little bit in the upper back and the shoulders move into a little bit of a forward or protracted position. So what this equals is tightness. And when we're talking about increasing shoulder mobility, we're often also talking about increasing thoracic mobility. That is that middle upper section of the spine between your shoulder blades. So a couple of the drills today are going to address both. These 5 exercises are pretty simple to perform. One of them requires a bar to hang from. Everything else you can do with a piece of floor or a wall. So our shoulders are really complex joints, and as such, they're capable of going into many different ranges of motion. If we compare them to something like the knee joint or the hip, they're really quite complex. So when we're looking to improve our shoulder mobility, we want to try to address various different ranges of the joint. That's going to help to give us the most amount of movement capacity. So with the 5 stretches that I'm taking you through today, each of these stretches covers a slightly different range of the shoulder. Go through the drills, pick the 2 or 3 that work best for you, and try to pick the ones that target the specific range you have the most trouble with. All right, first drill we're going to look at is the passive hang. Now there's a couple of other variations of this, but let's start with the most straightforward. For this I need a bar or something that I can hang from, okay? And all I'm going to do is take an overhand grip somewhere around shoulder width. You can play with different grips, but let's start here. And the idea is I'm just going to then hang my weight off the bar. Now you'll notice my feet are still on the ground, and this is cool because it allows me just to support a little bit of my weight so that I'm not placing full body weight into my shoulders. If you feel fine with that, you can start to take the feet off the ground, and now you're getting a full body weight hang. You'll notice my elbows are locked, my shoulders are drooping up around my ears, and as I hang, I'm just trying to let everything through the torso relax. So you get this nice decompression of the spine, you get this opening of the shoulders. Now, as an extra detail to this, when I'm in that hanging position, I want you to think about trying to pull your rib cage down. So what this does is it forces or encourages more of a stretch through the shoulder because it actually tilts my torso into more of a vertical position. So by pulling that rib cage down, I can increase the stretch that's happening there at the shoulder. The rib cage goes down, okay? Now, if you want to try some other variations of that, you can go supinated grip. And here's the deal, if you've got a shoulder issue, like maybe a bit of discomfort, and that doesn't feel great for you, you could try this variation, might feel a bit more comfortable. You could also turn it into an active variation where you would do this little shrug, pulling the shoulder blades down, and then sinking back into your passive position, okay? Any variations of these are great for improving shoulder mobility. All right, seated shoulder extension. So now we're looking at taking the arms back behind us, which you're gonna notice here, a lot of stretch through the bicep, and also through the front of the shoulder and into the pec. We're going to place the hands just outside of shoulder width with the fingers pointing backwards. My elbows are locked, and what I want to do here is before I shift my hips forward, I want to set my shoulder position. I'm going to pull the shoulders back and down, and you'll notice that that kind of lifts my chest. I can then bring the feet forward and shoot my butt towards my feet until I feel a good stretch going on through the shoulder. Now it's important while I'm in this, I want to keep the arms straight. I want to maintain my shoulder position. And what you'll notice if you're not maintaining your shoulder position, you'll notice that your shoulders creep up around your ears. It hides your neck. So you want to make sure that your neck is nice and long here. And then as I feel more comfortable in that stretch, I can scoot my hips a little bit further forward, which increases the range of the stretch, okay? Now, sometimes here you might feel a little bit of sensation at the elbow, and if you find that uncomfortable, you can just focus on contracting through your bicep and tricep. So I'm going to squeeze both muscles on either side of the elbow joint. I'm going to contract those, and that's just going to stabilize the elbow and generally sort of takes care of that odd sensation that you might feel. For this stretch, we're looking to hold it anywhere from 45 to 90 seconds. Scorpion stretch. So this here, we're looking at big stretch through the pec, the front of the shoulder. I'm gonna start lying down on my front and I'm gonna bring one arm up to 45 degrees, okay? So I'm not overhead, I'm not out to the side, I'm in the middle. And then I'm just bending that elbow and placing the palm flat on the ground. From here, I bring my opposite hand down close to my chest and I'm gonna push into the ground as I rotate my top leg over and across. Now, the stretch is occurring through the pec on this side here. You don't have to keep that shoulder position specifically. You can straighten your arm a little bit more, bend the elbow, try lifting or lowering the elbow to settle in for a good position for you. The most important thing is that you're finding an angle where you do get a good, strong stretch through the pec, okay? Now the idea is with this top leg, you can really extend it out and you can lift it up and all those things, but what I want you to think about is extending the leg down and then reaching it across. And that's just creating a bit of tension here through the front of the body, so the hip flexor and even through the abs. And that's giving me a bit of a sort of opposing stretch going on through that part of the hip. If you want, as a note for this stretch, you can go with the elbow completely locked. It's totally personal preference. The reason I like the bent elbow is that it allows me to set my shoulder position a little bit more neutral. Rather, when I go with a straight arm, I personally tend to elevate my shoulder, which isn't ideal for me. I'm gonna hang out here anywhere from 45 to 90 seconds, and then I'm gonna complete on the other side. Behind the back stretch using a belt. Now, this one's a beauty, and anyone who's trained jiu-jitsu will see the relevance of this immediately. In this stretch, we're replicating figure 4 position with the top arm and a kimura position with the bottom arm. Now, what's happening at the shoulder is this overhead position here is external rotation combined with upward rotation, and then this lower one is internally rotated. So both are opposing positions. We're gonna do this on both sides. So you're getting a lot of stretch going on in both shoulders in this one. And so in that regard, I want you to take it easy on the intensity because I don't want you to wreck yourself. But if you use this stretch appropriately, it's really great for improving your mobility in these positions. And you can think of simply trying to connect your hands together. That's what we're trying to develop here, okay? So grab a belt or a towel or anything you have. Of course, if you use a black belt, it's twice as effective as any of the other belts, but use what you have, okay? Now all I'm gonna do is I like to double my belt over. So I got it there, I grab this guy, and I'm gonna bring that arm up overhead. My bottom hand is then gonna reach behind, and you'll notice I push down with the belt and then I grip the lower hand, all right? Now, once I'm here, I wanna just spend a moment getting comfortable. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm trying not to arch my back excessively. So I'm just gonna pull my rib cage down and set a relatively neutral position. And then I'm just organizing my shoulders to see where I am. I'm not trying to be in a really contorted position. I don't want to be in any pain here. I'm really just settling into the stretch. Now, if that feels okay, what I can start to do is just walk my hand up the belt. And if I just keep my top hand fixed, I can use that bottom hand to move closer. And then I can once again settle, reorganize my shoulders and my spine and hang out. Now, it's important when I'm doing this, I'm breathing through the nose. I'm not moving into a position that causes pain. I'm just moving into a position where I can open up the range of motion at the shoulder safely. Around 60 to 90 seconds would be good for this, and then you would change sides. Just a note, when you come out of this stretch, be respectful that you've just been in a pretty intense stretch and come out gently and then repeat on the other side. Cat stretch. So similar to our hang in that we're moving into an overhead position, but this stretch in particular allows us to really get into slightly more range at the shoulder as well as through the thoracic spine. So I can start to get a bit of extension into the upper back. Facing a wall, I'm gonna place flat palms against the wall. My hands are at shoulder width or slightly outside, and I keep my elbows locked, okay? I'm gonna step the feet back, and you'll find a comfortable position for your feet. So if you're too far forward, you won't get much load in the stretch. If you're too far back, it'll feel a bit intense. So just get your feet into a spot that's comfortable for you. Again, elbows locked, I'm pushing into the wall, and then I'm driving my armpits down towards the floor. Now, you'll notice here that my back is arched and I'm pushing through the shoulder. I like to use this variation. I also like to use a variation where I tuck my pelvis and round my lower back. And what that does is it takes pressure, or emphasis rather, off the lower back and pushes more into the middle and upper back. Both variations are really good, and I would encourage you just to have a play around with both positions as you hang out in the stretch. We want to hold this for anywhere from 45 to 90 seconds. And again, like with all of these stretches, we're looking to maintain a controlled pace of nasal breathing, so nice and relaxed. And we're looking to progressively push a bit deeper into the stretch over the duration of the set. All right, guys, that's our top 5 drills to improve shoulder mobility for jiu-jitsu. Now, like I said at the start of the video, what I want you to do is pick the 2 or 3 drills there that work the best for you. And every couple of days, you'll perform 3 sets. So you could do each exercise as a standalone, or you could make it into a little triple set where you do 1 round of each and then a second round and then a third round. Third round's really important because you'll always notice with mobility work, the first set sucks, the second set feels half decent, and then the third set actually feels pretty good, and that's where you make a lot of the gains. If you have any questions about those drills, or you want help with another part of your body or your jiu-jitsu life, get at me in the comments, mention it below. I'll make sure to get back to you and we can look to get some more content out. It's gonna help you with that. Oh, and hey, if you want some help with your strength or mobility training, we've got a program for you. You can go to bulletproofforbjj.com. We have multiple different programs you can follow to develop strength and mobility specific to jiu-jitsu and also suited to whatever situation you're in. So if you train from home, we got you. If you got a gym, we got you. There's options there. Bulletproofforbjj.com, you can sign up for a free trial, and if you use the code HARDTOKILL, which is here on the screen somewhere, you get 15% off your first payment, or